Good evening, good evening. Can you see me and can you hear me? Somebody just commented on my last live and said they've got a blank screen. If you can see me or hear me, leave a comment, please. Tech issues. No idea. No idea. Hello, hello. Just leave, just like I said, got you loud and clear. Okay, good. So somebody just commented a minute ago and said we've got a blank screen. I've no idea. Can see and hear you now, and that was me with a blank screen. Right, okay. Got you loud and clear. Good, thank you. Where are you? I'm in Birmingham. I'm in Birmingham right now, and then I'm heading down to London tonight. Probably be out of here by about 1 o'clock, so should be in London by 3, and we've got travel day tomorrow. So, yeah. Still with KB. Yes, I am. 14 years, man. 14 years. I've been with KB now. 2011 I started here. Can you believe it? Crazy how quick that's gone. Hey Dan, sorry you mentioned about hanging meat, then it cut off. Yeah, I said I did fridge work very briefly, which was actually my first video that kind of went not like viral, obviously, but it's my first video that like did really well and got a lot of views. When I went down to Italy for Whites, took a load of hanging meat down there. I've worked for Whites 3 or 4 times, like on a ad hoc kind of basis, and yeah, it's unsociable hours, but it was something different. I mean, the job that I do at the minute is a lot of unsociable hours, obviously. Shows end at night, shows get packed away, and then you drive overnight. It's unsociable hours still, just a different kind of work, obviously. Definitely need a double driver for that one. Yeah, all 2.5, 3 hours of it. It's gonna be a slog. It's gonna be a right slog. You went a little quiet, had some time to travel. I followed you quietly for some time. Yeah, I love to travel. I mean, obviously I get to travel for work, which is a bonus. But if I'm not working, I just like to travel anyway. I like to be on holiday. I just like to. I'm not one of them people who can just sit in one place for long periods. It would annoy me. Now we're talking. Now we're getting some people in. Ask me anything. Where are you all? What's everybody up to? Do lambs out of the same spot? Is that oh, what's the name of the place? I don't want to say the name of the actual company, but it's in Landbida, is it? Oh my god, no! Oh my god, that's what a Volvo panic alarm sounds like. Truck next to me has just set his panic alarm off. Oh my god. Watching from Ayrshire, Scotland. Nice. Best tour you have done, mate. Waiting for the next vlog, can't wait. Thank you. Like I said, hopefully should be out Saturday evening. 6 PM Saturday. Make a date. Get the beers in the fridge, yeah. Left-hand drive Scania. No, it's just the camera's flipped around. It is a right-hand drive Scania. Best tour you've done? Very, very hard to say. Very hard to say. It's probably between two. It's between, and again, you know me, I don't mention names, but it's between the one that I did in 2019, which I vlogged. It's between that one, just because we went to some great places. and we went pretty much all over Europe. It's between that and it's between another one that I did in 2017, which was a complete holiday tour, and I went to loads of new places that I'd never been to before, and places that I've never been since as well. So that was a really good tour. 4 days off, general orders UK, Trumper, on 4 off. Would love to get into European stuff, but seems more a dream than reality. Anybody can do it. It's just obviously your personal situation, you know. It's your personal situation in it more than anything. Like, I've committed a lot of time to doing this job, and I've missed a lot of like social events because of that, you know, like friends' birthdays and weddings and stuff, because I've had to say I can't make it because I've been in the arse end of Europe somewhere. But also at the same time, I've seen things that I would never have seen if I hadn't done the job. So, you know, in a selfish way, it's been the best thing I've ever done. How you getting on the new dash? Like, it's honestly, I love it. Yeah, it looks amazing. It's a very good concept. It's just that like they've not finished with it yet. Like, it's still not got CarPlay on it, which is annoying because it's like a massive iPad in the middle of the screen. It's just like having a massive iPad there, but not everything is fully functional on it yet. But like, face says it all. No, like, yeah, like I said, I do like it. I do really like it, but like aesthetically, it looks really good, and like I do like it. It's just that I do miss things from the other truck as well. Like, with my 19 plate, like my suspension controls, because it's got air front and back. My suspension controls were like literally on buttons right next to the steering wheel. Anybody who's driven a Scania or a Scania with air ride will know probably that you've got your suspension controls next to the steering wheel there. And now they've put the suspension controls in like on the dash in the screen. So like if I want to put the suspension up and down, like or I use the wander lead, but because I've got the controls there, I took the wander lead behind the seat out of the way because I hate having like cables and wires hanging around and stuff. So I just use the suspension control on the screen, but it is quite annoying if I want to put the suspension up, like to get on, just go in and so low. I do have to put the suspension up quite often, having to go into the screen. But like the concept of it is really good and it looks good. It's just that not everything's fully functional with it yet. Random question, but I did a bit of work for a coach company in your line of work, 2019, before COVID. Best experience? Would you say the trucking side is easier? I don't know because I've never done coaches. So I couldn't tell you. I've been like, obviously I've got friends who do coaches. I've been asked if I would be interested in going on the coaches. Coaches earn very good money. Like the money that bus drivers get in this game is very, very good. However, I like not having people behind me. Like, I like that I can drive how I want. Not that I drive stupid, obviously, but I like that when you drive a coach, like there's times, like for example, if I was going from like say Nottingham to Glasgow, I would drive up the A1 across the 66 and up the 74. Whereas like if you've got a coach on, sorry, if you're driving a coach, you kind of have to go across the M62 and then up like the longer way, because obviously you can't be going around all them bends and windy corners when you've got people trying to sleep. So like your driving style has to completely change. Somebody actually, I spoke to one of the coach drivers once, and he said the best way to like practice it is that imagine you've got like a glass of water on your dashboard and your aim is like to not spill any water basically, which is fine. But it's not that I don't like people, yeah, it's just that I'm quite introverted. antisocial, I suppose. So I like being on my own. 2019 tour you did that you vlogged, how many trucks were on that tour and how many tour buses? Watched that on a scale of it, blew my mind. 20 maybe. 20 trucks, and I can't remember how many buses. It was years ago. I think it was only 20. But then like the next one that we did with the same artist, which was in 2022, there was 30, so it gone up by like 10 trucks. But yeah, I mean, it's nowhere near the biggest one that I've ever done. I've just done 34 actually with a K-pop band. In fact, the tour that I'm vlogging right now, or the last video that I made and the next video that I'm going to put out, it was with a K-pop band, and there was 34 trucks on that, or 35. So thoughts on the Free Arena Dublin? I don't have any thoughts on the Free Arena Dublin. Like it's just an arena, isn't it? Like it's not a bad place. It's in fact it's a very good arena if you're only going there with like 3-4 trucks. You can all park there, or even maybe, what can you leave? 3 in the docks, 2 down the side, 2 in the back. I think you can actually leave 7 or 8 trucks there. But if you go in there, we're actually going there on this tour that I'm on at the minute, and I am with, I think there's 15 of us on here, which means some of you have to go away and park at Malloy and Sherry, in Malloy and Sherry's yard, which is, there's nothing there. But in terms of the actual venue itself, it's, don't have any thoughts. It's an alright place. Hey from France. Luke, 22 years old, English driver living in France. Bonsoir, mon ami. How many glitches you had? My salesmen are pestering me like crazy, but the amount of problems they're having with the new Dash is madness. Apparently old style full air buttons can be spec'd now. Now that would be ideal. See, like, what I don't get is that where the suspension buttons were, they've put the light switch buttons there, even though there's light switch controls in the Dash. So like there's essentially 2 separate ways of turning your lights on and off. Like, why? There's absolutely no need for that. Glitches, this truck had a few when it was brand new. Most of them have been ironed out now, and it's actually pretty good. The sat nav, I know a lot of people had troubles with the sat nav, like weren't working, or they were just like stuck in one place and wouldn't take you where you wanted to go. But the sat nav in this is very, very, very good. Very good, ultra reliable. I do like it. You would like a coach load of backseat drivers, basically. Yeah, exactly. Like I said, I'm not about that really. Cousin was a coach driver. Had a few backseat drivers, got out the seat and asked if they want to try it. No. Yeah. That's what I mean. Like I said, I'm pretty antisocial like that. The last thing I want is people trying to talk to me. Like, when I hate even double driving, because like when I'm driving, I just like to get into my zone. I like to put my music on, and I'm just like away in my own head. And like even when you're double driving, like most people who I've double driven with have been absolutely sound people, and it's my truck at the end of the day. Do you know what I mean? I'll do what I want in it. But like obviously you have to respect other people. So yeah, obviously I don't have the music on that I want to listen to, or I don't have it as loud as I would like to have it. Like, yeah, like I said, when I'm driving, I just like to put my music on, get the volume turned up, get in the zone and go. And obviously you can't do that when you're driving a coach. Or you'd like to tell us who you're on tour for. Be long after it happened. I don't see why not, but I just don't. I don't know. It's kind of like a grey area, really, especially not when you're on the tour at the time. Um, although the company that I'm working for will post, we've been doing this job and we've been doing that job with X, Y, or Z artist. I just personally don't. Um, but if you really want to know, like the tour that or like I said, the last video that I've done and the next video that comes out was with a K-pop band called Blackpink, who were actually supposedly pretty big, but I've never heard of them. But yeah, 35 trucks, 34, 35 trucks, sold out arenas. Sold out stadiums. Like, yeah, big, but I've never heard of them. With the water in the glass on the dash, I had that drilled into me also. What's your favourite place to drive, tour scenery wise? Switzerland, Montreux, personal favourites. Big fan of Italy. Nowhere in particular in Italy. Don't know why. I just like, probably because I don't go to Italy a lot. I find Italy's always like kind of a novelty to me. So I always enjoy driving in Italy. And also, like, the coffee situation in Italy, like, all the service stations that you go to have like a little cafe, and you can get cheap coffee and brioche, and the coffee in it is really good. So I do like that for Italy. Scenery wise, one of the best drives I ever did was up to Bergen in Norway, and I wasn't vlogging at the time. I wish I was, because that would have probably been the best vlog I would have ever done in terms of scenery. I like driving in Spain, going out that way. Really hard to say. Like, I like driving in Sweden. Scenery's not spectacular, but it's always just really quiet roads. Sweden's always a good drive. And again, it's a bit of a novelty because we don't go up that way very often. I enjoyed driving in the Baltics as well when I went up to, which actually did get vlogged, when I went up to Finland, and we drove up through the Baltics. Really enjoyed driving up there. Yeah, I enjoy going to different places for different reasons. I have a colleague with Smart Dash. He gets the PTO button that simply doesn't turn on. Screen glitch. That's a bummer. Would you need to use a tipper trailer? Yeah. Like I said, I had glitches with this Smart Dash when I first got it, but everything seems to have been ironed out. Yeah, but like I said, not everything, like, they've got CarPlay technology, but it's not on there yet. And it's like, like I said, you've got a flipping 15-inch iPad in the middle of the dashboard, and it looks really good. But why would you release it if not everything's ready for it? I don't understand that. That's a fair point. It's always one of them. As when I've seen your maps, I've tried to look in the past, but could never work out who. Yeah, like I said, I don't really talk about it. For me personally, it's always been like an etiquette thing, like, that's something that I feel like I've always had since I started this job. Like, some people get it and some people don't. Like, some people turn up first tour giving it Billy Big Bollocks. Oh, look at me, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, blah blah blah, posting pictures of the pass online and stuff like that, which is an instant sackable offence, by the way. Trying to talk to artists and stuff like that. And me personally, I've always just seen it as, it's a job at the end of the day. Like, I'm nothing but a driver. Like, that's what you need to remember. Do you know what I mean? That's why I never go around shouting about, look at me, I'm doing this and that. I just get on with the job, and that's it. And that's the best way, because, like, I'm reliable. Without blowing my own trumpet, I'm reliable, and that's why any lead driver will take me on any tour, or I can do my own stuff, do you know what I mean? And work will give me any job, because, like, I'm reliable at the end of the day. Like, not giving it the big one about what I'm doing and where I'm going. I was at the White Cliffs of Dover yesterday, saw about 10 Goodyear tyre trucks. Yeah, probably, obviously, I would assume something to do with the F1, maybe. I have no idea what they're up to at the minute. I don't follow F1, by the way, which is probably controversial, because it's a pretty well sport, isn't it? Can you call it a sport? I think the F1 is pretty well followed. I've got no interest in F1. Don't know why, because I love driving, obviously. Ever thought of changing from a Scania to a Volvo? Is it personal choice or just what you get allocated from the company? Yes. So, obviously, I left in, kind of technically left. I took a sabbatical, if you like, in 2023. I left. And I came back May 2024 and was allocated a Volvo. And I liked it. It was a brilliant truck to drive. Amazing truck to drive, actually. Let's be honest, like, the Volvo drives like an absolute dream. But you got to remember, obviously, I spend a lot of time away in the truck. Essentially, I may as well just live in it for what it's worth. And the storage and the room in the Volvo is pretty much non-existent. Like, I just found... Also, I think the design of the Scania, like, ergonomically, like, everything is exactly how I would want it and where I want it. And I found in the Volvo, it's way too cramped. It wasn't set up how I would like it, and I couldn't, because there wasn't enough storage in there, I couldn't put everything away properly. And I found that, like, I always had things lying around, and I really hate things lying around. I like everything to be put away, neat and tidy. And I couldn't do that in a Volvo because there's not enough room in there. But from a driving perspective, great truck to drive. But yeah, as soon as I had the opportunity to go back into a Scania, I was back in the Scania. And I was lucky as well because it was a new one. I wonder what them Goodyear tyre trucks were doing. Like I said, I don't follow F1, so I have no idea where they were going. If it was F1 trucks. I think Volvo's auxiliary brake. I think Volvo's auxiliary brake, for some reason, is more effective than Scania. Scania's, for me, are incredible for the viewpoint, all-round vision. I agree, it's good on the Volvo, but better on the Scania. So this one that I'm in now has got a proper retarder, and it's the first, like, my 19 plate didn't. It had like a 2-stage engine brake, which is shit, basically. Whereas this new one has got a proper retarder, right? And it's got hill descent control, which my last one never had either. And I swear to you, I don't touch the brakes when I'm on the motorway. I get on the motorway, I set the cruise, I set this hill descent control at like 96, and it never overspeeds. It literally never overspeeds. It doesn't matter how much weight I've got on. It's like it knows. I can only assume that it works like on a GPS thing, but it knows like how far down the hill you go. Like what it will do, yeah, is like as soon as you crest the hill, which is obviously where you kind of start to overspeed. As soon as you crest the hill, it will apply the retarder and slow it down, and it'll keep it sitting 89, 90 all the way down, like, or to near enough the bottom of the hill. And then when I get right near the bottom of the hill, it will let it go, and it will speed up to about 96, which obviously because I have the descent control set at 96, and then it will always come back before it overspeeds. It's crazy. Like, it knows like I said, I can only assume it's something to do with the GPS. It actually knows like where to let the brake off and like where to put the brake on. It's crazy. But like the hill descent control on this truck is so good. Like I said, I don't touch the brakes unless I'm actually obviously stopping for something. I don't need to touch the brakes when I'm on the motorway. Like I said, I set the cruise, set the hill descent, and the truck will just do the rest. Very, 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 very good. One of the best things about this truck, actually. How long does this toy run? 8 weeks. I'll finish on the 9th of November, and then I'm going to be away to Thailand again for a few months. So, talked about something in the last video, and I'm going to do a completely separate video just to explain a little bit more. But I'm going to be going out to Thailand again for a few months. But I will be coming back to the job. I've already squared it with work. I'm going to be coming back to the job, coming back to my truck, and hopefully more vlogs next year. For some reason, no matter how I position myself in the Scania, can't get my knee away from resting on the door handle. How tall are you, man? How tall are you? I'm only a small guy. I'm like 5'7", so I don't worry about things like that. Also, being short, because let's be honest, 5'7" is short. Like, has a lot of advantages. Being tall is a flex until you have to go on an economy flight somewhere. 6'1", that's not even like that tall either, really. 6'1" is like, it's tall-ish, but it's not like overly tall, is it? Like 6'3" and above is tall. Kids nowadays, man, are getting massive. Like, young kids now are getting tall. Like, what are they feeding them nowadays? I don't get it. Are you guys getting XGs? No, I don't think so. I think, see, going back to what I just said a minute ago, like, I've told him, like I said, once I finish this tour in November, I'm going to have a few months out and go back to Thailand for anywhere between 3 and 6 months. So I'll be back probably March, April kind of time. Like I said, I am coming back to the truck and the job. But completely lost my train of thought now. What the hell was I on about? Oh yeah, that's it. Yeah, you get an excuse. So yeah, I've asked them to have this truck back because I think they're buying pretty much all Volvo now. We've just had another 10 brand new, they're not the Aeros, the 25 plates, they're brand new. But we just had another 10 new Volvo FHs, which I think look incredible. I think they look really, really good. They're a much better looking truck than the Scania. But as I was saying earlier, I can't get on with living in a Volvo. I just don't like the design of the Volvo inside. I think they've wasted so much space. So yeah, in terms of living, I'm a Scania man, and I'm happy driving a Scania. But no, I don't think, like I said, I don't think we are having XGs because I think that they're pretty much just buying all Volvos from now on. Although we have got a Merc coming. You know them new Mercs that people say look like a fridge freezer. I'll have to pick up the wife from work. Look forward to Saturday. Cheers for dropping in, Nick. Video out at 6 PM Saturday. Take care. Do you often work with other hauliers on a tour, or do KB tend to use their own fleet for each job? Also, what's your opinions on festival season? Before I answer that question, let me just finish off. Yeah, I think we're having, I know that we're having one of them new Mercs. I've seen a picture of it. I don't know when it's coming or who's going to have it, but I know we have got a Merc, one of them. Yes, we had a few electric ones on San Fender. So basically one of them, but like they're not ours, they're just demos. that Merc have given us, but we're having, obviously they're not low ride trucks as well. They're just like standard height tracked units. So we're actually having a low ride Merc. It's already been sprayed in our colours and everything, ready to come on the fleet. So I don't think he's bought it. I think it's basically a demo that Merc have given us because the Merc are trying to get in the door. So they've given us, like I said, a low ride Merc fridge, basically. So I'll be interested to see what that's like because I've never been in one. I've not even been, I don't think, in the newer Actros, the one before this one. I don't think I've ever even been in one of them. So I'll be interested to see what that's like. But for me personally, I don't really care. Like I said, I like my Scania. Going back to that, do you often work with other hauliers or on a tour, or tend to use their own fleet for each job? Yeah, it all depends. Like, obviously depends how busy we are, depends how busy other companies are. Like more recently, it's always been a thing, but I would say like more recently, like more companies have started working together. Like on the tour that I'm putting videos out at the minute, you will see there was like some Germans on there from trucking service and some Peter Schmidt Dutch lorries, because we've just had that much work on this summer that obviously we've not had the trucks to cover everything, so we've subbed some of it to other companies. But yeah, like you will often, not often, but when it's really busy, you will see trucks from other companies joining you on jobs. What's your opinions on festival season? I've been lucky, really. I haven't done any festivals this summer, but my opinions. There's someone really dodgy looking walking around out here, and I've got my scooter sat right next to the truck. He looks very suspect. Hmm. What's my opinions on festival? Yeah, like I said, I've not done many festivals this season, and am I bothered? Absolutely not. Don't really care for it. New Actress front end is bloody horrid looking. Do you know what though? They're growing on me. They're growing on me a little bit. Like, I hate to admit it. I'm looking forward to seeing what ours looks like. But I think if they're done right, I think they can look good. I think straight out the factory in like a plain white, yeah, they're not great, but they are growing on me a little bit. Like I said, I'm looking forward to seeing what ours looks like proper in person. I've only seen a picture of it. Yep, Dan, I started my career in a Volvo F88 290 brake turbo, no tacos. Hope you're okay. Looking well, dude. Nidge. Thank you very much. Volvo F88. What year was that? Dare I ask? Yeah, we're very lucky now. Like, this is always like a hot topic. It's always a hot topic on social media. Like, there's always a debate. People will say, "Oh, like trucks back in my day. Oh, I'd take that over this," and blah blah blah. And it's like, would you though? Realistically, like I can imagine back then it was great, and like you make you make the most out of what you've got. But like, let's be real. Like, these trucks nowadays, this truck is just specced with like everything. It's like when I pull up somewhere, I can plug it into the mains like a camper van. I've got my all-night aircon. I've got my TV, fridge, freezer, microwave, and whatnot. You've got all the mod cons, and like, you can. People say that, oh, I'd much rather have a flipping Scania 143, but would you really? After a week, would you? Would you really have a 143 over a flipping S series? I'm not sure. Festival season's good if it isn't raining. Yeah, well, this is the thing. It always seems to rain whenever I go to festivals. Creamfields especially. Like, I don't think I've ever been to Creamfields and it hasn't rained. See stage trucker doing the ginger guy night. Yeah. Listening to you, suddenly following a KB truck in London, Westminster. Hope you're not watching and driving, Darren. See stage trucker doing the ginger guy. Yeah. Yeah. That's obviously things that are way above my station. I imagine a lot of it would be to do with cost. And I am not gonna say anything that I shouldn't say or that might get me in trouble. What I will say is that obviously I've done that. We as a company did that tour between 2017 and 2022. I don't think he did 2023. I don't think he toured in 23, but 2022. And I noticed a change in it, and that's all I'm going to say. Like I said, I'm not going to say anything that's going to get me in trouble, or that I shouldn't say. But I definitely noticed a change between 17 and 22. Decent livery does help. Yeah. Saw one. I saw a picture of one earlier. Keydwells, and they've put like a fake grill on it, and it makes such a difference, honestly, compared to like having just the plain. Like it's got a big plain front on it, like a big plain front grill, and like actually having just some detail on the grill makes such a difference. Had one of the first Actros Mega Space gearbox. Had a mind of its own. Yeah. I had, when I first started driving, or when I first passed my test, had an Iveco Stralis 2004 54 plate. And listen, don't get me wrong, I loved that lorry. I absolutely loved it because like it was my first, and it was a big truck as well for me. I was 21 at the time, for like a young lad. I was very fortunate. I felt very fortunate to have been given the keys to my own lorry. And I loved that truck. I learnt to drive in that truck. I was only doing UK stuff at the time, but I learnt a lot with that lorry, and I really, really treated it like it was my own. I loved it, but that was exactly the same. The gearbox had a complete mind of its own. Very, very hit and miss. F88, mid to late 70s. Wow. UK or Europe? I love listening to some of the stories from like some of the guys who used to do Europe back in the day. I did a job to Cannes a few years ago now. Quite a few years ago, going back to probably 2014 or something. Did a job down to Cannes with a couple of guys who used to run the Middle East. Like some of the stories, just amazing. I've actually got a few books. There's a very, very, very good book written by a guy called Paul Rowlands, I think, who actually worked at Trans Am for a while. I don't know if he still does. He worked at Trans Am for a while doing this line of work, but he used to run the Middle East, and he wrote a book called Not All Sunshine and Sand, and it's absolutely amazing. Like I've probably read it about 2 or 3 times. It's that good. Started in 1980. It was 2 years old when I got it. Boy could fly. Give me a new Scania any day. Yeah. See, trucks nowadays, like obviously everything's speed restricted. Some are faster than others, obviously. But I don't know if I'd want to drive without a speed limiter, just because like there's so many idiots car drivers nowadays. It's very dangerous. Like car drivers are very dangerous as it is, and like if you can actually keep up with them, and you're gonna be kind of like you would be sitting amongst the cars more often, if that makes sense, and therefore you're more likely to encounter idiots. It's bad enough in, as it is now, because like truck drivers are just as bad. There's some seriously bad truck drivers out there at the minute, and that's something I've noticed. Like in the last um 17 years, I've had my class one. 2008, I passed. January 2008, passed my class one. So I've been driving class one for 17 and a half years, and the standard of driving in that time, nosedive. Crazy now. Like it's literally every man for himself. It's crazy. Very very few people like have any respect for other people on the road, which is sad really, because like the industry that we're in, it's hard enough as it is with everything else that we have to deal with. We should all look after each other, but there you go. We've been away so much. Would you say this line of work is a single man's game? Yes, the job has its perks. Does it outweigh everything else? It's very much a single man's game. I mean, it depends like on you, the person, I suppose. Like if and obviously your partner. Like if you're, there's a lot of guys on here who have grown up kids. They've got married when they were younger, had kids, been there while their kids grew up, and the missus don't mind them being away from home so much anymore. So that works for them, obviously. Me personally, I like I said, I've been here 14 years. I started here when I was 25. So I was at an age where I was still able to commit like all my time to the job. But I kind of outstayed my welcome. and like, I mean, it's something that I've accepted now. Like I said, I'm 39 now. I don't have any kids or a missus. I probably won't have now, but I'm okay with that. Like I'm not like, oh my god, I'm never gonna have children. I'm okay with it, because I live a life that I enjoy. Like I'm fortunate. I'm very fortunate that this, and it's very very cliche, and like a lot of people will say, will call you out on it, but like this has been a lifestyle for me, not a job. Like because this is a job where I can have time off whenever I want. I can, and the best example of that is the fact that I'm going to Thailand after this job for a few months. And I'm in a position where I can say to work, right, I'm going away for a few months, and I intend to come back, and they're absolutely fine with it. And you can't really do that in a lot of jobs, can you? Or in most jobs. So like for me, it has been a lifestyle. I've been able to like, work for a few weeks or a few months or whatever, and then right, I'm having 2-3 weeks off. I'm having a holiday, and like I don't have to put a holiday request in. I know that work aren't going to turn around to me and say, oh, you can't have this time off because so and so's off, or we've got too many people off. It's like I pretty much dictate to them when I'm going to go away. So in that respect, it has been a lifestyle, and I think for that reason I can say yes, the perks have outweighed everything else. But I completely understand. Like I said, obviously, I'm probably never going to have kids now. So it depends what you want out of life, doesn't it? I'm happy with what I've done in life and what I do in life. I'm happy. Like for me, just traveling and stuff is where my happiness lies. So yeah, like again, it sounds very selfish, but like that has definitely been a perk for me that outweighs anything else. Yeah, for sure. Where's your yard depot? Mansfield, junction 28 off the M1. Roads weren't as busy as today. Hardly anything at night. Roads weren't as busy as today. Hardly anything at night. No, yeah, I know. That's the roads. The roads now are just crazy, absolutely crazy. Like all day, every day. You go and sit on the motorway and just like look in front of you, and like obviously that's the good thing about being in a truck. Like your vantage point, you know, you can see so far ahead, and it's like all you can see is just traffic, and it's crazy. I can't I just can't get my head around it. Hate it. I hate driving in the UK during the day. Hate it. And it's not much better at night because they close all the flipping roads, don't they? But yeah. With that said, I've done a lot of Europe this summer, and like swings and roundabouts because when you're in Europe, a lot of the time you're doing long drives. Whereas like tonight, for example, I'm just going from Birmingham down to London, and I've got a day off tomorrow, essentially travel day. So it's like, you know, hopefully leave here about 1 o'clock in the morning, 2-3 hours down the road, park up again, done. Um, Whereas like when I'm in Europe, a lot of the time like chasing it, chasing miles. I know when I've been home too long, the missus starts packing my clothes in my bag. Yeah. Problem is, there are a lot of new drivers where it's just a job they have been given a license rather than earned it, paid for it themselves. Drive a truck like this still in their home delivery vans. Like, I think it's unfair to blame it on new drivers. Like, I know you're not essentially blaming it on new drivers. Yeah, I wouldn't solely say it's new drivers. Like, there's there's driver. I suppose. Yeah. Well, we're not talking about age, are we? I know what you're saying. Like, new drivers, not necessarily young drivers, but yeah, there's just no respect. There is no respect for each other on the road now, and it's bad. It's bad. It's sad as well, really, because like I said, even in the time I've been driving, even in like the last 17 years, like the drop in standards and respect is not even funny. I feel like I need to put my scooter away because I don't know where that guy's gone now. Up to no good, mate. Up to no good. Wow, 50 minutes already I've been on live. Crazy. Yeah, I think I'm going to start doing some more lives because I enjoy interacting with people. It's gone quiet all of a sudden. Where's everybody gone? What time are we on? 8:15. Got the crankyard drivers as well. They're ready to hang keys up. It's hard, especially in the UK. Yeah, like that's the thing. It's definitely not an age thing because you're right. Like if you listen to a lot of people on, like I said, if you listen to a lot of people on social media, um, a lot of the older guys, and this is no disrespect to the older, you know, to older people. I mean, I'm not targeting any age specifically, but like a lot of the older guys who are ready to hang up the keys. That's it. Like their attitude is like, oh, you know, I've done it. Don't care anymore. I've done my time. And yeah, it's just a it's more of a means to earn money than it is a job, which it is for a lot of people. At the end of the day, like nobody comes to work because nobody comes to work for fun, do they? Everybody comes to work to earn money. But like a lot of people let that attitude um, take over the driving. It's like, yeah, Scotty Marshall, evening. How you doing, mate? Next month I'm starting a new job doing international. Good for you, mate. Good for you. I think you'll really enjoy it. Um, don't listen to people who say, "Oh, it's not what it used to be anymore." Job's what you make it at the end of the day. Like, I'm sure it's not what it used to be anymore. Like, obviously, you can't help when you're born at the end of the day. But like, you know, it's not what it used to be. I'm sure before all the borders came down, and when people used to run out to the Middle East and whatnot. Um, and obviously, the amount of Brits abroad nowadays is like less than what it used to be. But it's still a good job. It's still 10 times better than driving in the UK, mostly. And like I said, it's what you make it at the end of the day. Like, you're always, the good thing with Europe is because it's so big. You constantly always finding new places to stop, and I love it, man. I mean, I've been doing it. I'm only a baby to the job. I've been doing it since 2011, so 14 years. But I absolutely love it still, and I still, you know, not every time, but a lot of the time when I go out into Europe, I'm still like, you know, chomping at the bit. Can't wait to get out there and see different things. Having made the transition 14 years ago, coaches left-hand drive to right-hand drive HGV Class 1, 4 years and counting. Looking back at all the places I've been to and seen over the years, it's something I'll never forget. Exactly. Exactly that. I mean, I'm quite fortunate, I've been to a lot of places, like I said, places that I would never, and absolutely no doubt about it, I would never have been if it wasn't for work. Like Russia, for example, I would never have been to Russia for any purpose other than for work. And it's things that I'll never forget, like, it doesn't matter how old I get or what I do or what path I decide to walk in life. I'll never forget what I've done, and that's the best thing about it, like the memories that I've made and the people that I've met along the way as well. We popped up, mate. I am in Birmingham, Craig. Cannot wait. Yeah, good, man. Like, just go with the right attitude. Like, don't be afraid to ask people. Like, you will get one or two idiots who know it all, but like 98% of people are very helpful and will help you out and tell you anything you need to know. It's a learning curve, man. Like, it's completely different to driving in the UK in the respect of like things that you need to bear in mind all the time. But such a good experience. Evening, mate. Evening, Nick Higgins. How are you doing? How do you find Border Force, Dover, Folkestone with the coaches? It was always easier than the trucks getting through, and even worse now than maybe 4 or 5 years ago. Border Force, like, particularly, I'm assuming you mean, like, do you mean Border Force like where I'll go and get the paperwork done, or do you mean Border Forces in like where I get my passport stamped in or not? Like, I see, like, we've got these inland border facilities, yeah, and like I avoid them at all costs where I can, because they're, again, I'm not going to say anything that's getting me into trouble, but I just avoid them. Like, I'll go to Motus at Dover and do my paperwork there because it's just a much more stress-free experience. Like, I can go in, it costs me a tenner, and I'll just put the receipt in to work and get the money back. And I can go in there, get the paperwork stamped, and be in and out within 45 minutes 45 minutes is a long one. So yeah, no, I don't have any problems with it really. At the end of the day, it's what you need to do, to get in and out. So I don't have a problem with it. And in terms of border force, like actually, um, like the people who stamp your passport in and out is what it is. I don't ever seem to get pulled going through Dover or Calais. So, and even, I think I've been stopped like 2 or 3 times, and they just run the dog around the cab, have a quick look inside, do a like a drugs wipe or whatever it is, I suppose, on your way. It's part of the job at the end of the day, and they're just doing their job as much as I'm doing mine. How do you think the 90-day rule will affect you? Not at all, if I'm honest. Like, last year particularly, I'll use last year as an example because I was very, very busy, like, and I felt like I was in Europe for all of it, which I wasn't. I was in and out. I was like, there was a tour that I was on that came in and out about 4 or 5 times. It's like I did a bit here, and then we did a bit in Europe, then we did come back here, did a little bit, did a bit in Europe, come back out, and then we did did a bit more in Europe, and then I finished that, and I went straight onto another one, which was all in Europe, and then I finished that, and I went straight onto another one, which was all in Europe. So this was between June and December, and that's the last video that I did last year where I handed my truck over to, like, there was a guy, because of how I was working with my hours, one of my mates came out to take over my truck from Copenhagen, and I flew home on and that was like the 17th of December or something. That was, obviously getting right close to Christmas. And I've got an app on my phone called Schengen, which tells me how many days I've used in Europe. And I think at the end of that tour, or when I flew home, I'd used like 70 something days. So despite the fact that I felt that I was in Europe for a lot of the time, I wasn't right close to my 90-day limit. So I think I'm fine. And like I said, I'm all right doing UK jobs as well. Like, just don't want to be here all the time. Like this next tour that I'm doing now is 2 months all around the UK, and I'm absolutely fine with it. It's because, like I said, the thing is, when you're in Europe, you're chasing hours a lot of the time. Whereas this UK job is literally, it's like tonight, load out of Birmingham, drive down to London. We've got a day off tomorrow, and then we've got some shows in London, and then we load out of London, we drive to Cardiff with the travel day. Then we've got a couple of shows in Cardiff, and then we've got another travel day to Sheffield, and it's so easy. And I'm absolutely fine with that. I don't need to be in Europe all the time. Don't get me wrong. Like, I think that's also what keeps it good for me as well. The fact that I'm not in Europe all the time. Yeah, I love it. I enjoy actually having a good mix of UK and Europe. So like in as far as the 90-day thing goes, I'm not concerned about that at all. Although I get why some people are, because like if you're somebody who's in Europe all the time, like I've got friends who do cars, for example, for like Rogers and that, Ian Rogers, and they're in Europe a lot of the time. So I can understand why people will be concerned about it, but me personally, I'm not. I'm happy to have a good mix of UK and Europe. State of new drivers not knowing the height of their trailers and hitting bridges. yeah. That's a guy walking past again. What the hell's he doing? State of drivers not knowing the height of their vehicles, hitting bridges. Yeah, it's a very common occurrence nowadays. Yeah. We run at 4 meters, so that's never a concern of mine. Obviously, there are bridges lower than 4 meters, but like at 4 meters, this goes under like pretty much anything that I'm likely to encounter anyway, on any main kind of route. You touched on it there. Just trucking is not like it used to be years ago. Drivers looked out for each other. Drivers, we all help each other out. Nowadays, they would rather fly past you on the side of the road with a camera in hands. Yeah. The invention of social media, and here I am talking to you lot on social media. Like, it's been such a good thing, but it's been such a bad thing at the same time, because like I see a lot of people a lot of people just want to record you and post it on social media for likes and views. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it personally. Doing regular trips to Italy, Sardinia, the rest of the time, all over the rest of Europe. Fridge work 2-3 weeks. French company living in France. By the way, never drove in the UK to be fair. Yeah, that'll be pretty sick, mate. Sardinia, never been. Um, yeah, that'll be really interesting. Who's it for, if you don't mind me asking? Like, can you tell me the name of the company? You see, some of the French boys actually get about quite a bit. So the 90 day rule, um, the 90-day rule is basically for non-EU citizens, which obviously we are now as Brits. You can only spend 90 days out of a rolling 180 in the EU. I think I'm right in saying that. If I'm not, someone can correct me in the comments. So yeah, like basically, if I was to like leave the UK today and go into Europe on a tour, after 90 days, I have to return to the UK, and then I can't leave for the next 90 days because I've used my 90 days out of my rolling 180, if that makes sense. So essentially, like, you could spend 180 days out of a year in Europe. So like basically half your time, I suppose, has to be outside of the EU. And I think I'm right in saying that it's outside of the EU. So essentially, I'm not sure on that actually, but I think it's like it's a EU only thing, and obviously I would imagine if that is the case, that if I went to Switzerland, for example, it wouldn't count as like in my 90 days because Switzerland's not in the EU. British citizen living in UN, I guess. UK, yeah. Yeah, but obviously, I don't know how long you've been there, mate, but I would assume that you've got a residency, in which case it won't apply to you. I'm assuming you've got either like a residency or a French passport, maybe. So yeah, it won't apply to you. Obviously, if you're living in France, then it clearly doesn't apply to you anyway. Especially if you've been out there since before Brexit. Since I was 2 years old. Yeah, well, there you go. You may as well be French, aren't you? At that point. Did everything in France, yeah. So you'll have a French passport then, no doubt. French residency. I never answered that question, Finley. Where are you going after London? I'll tell you exactly where I'm going, in a roundabout kind of way. So Birmingham, which is where I am now. London, Cardiff, Sheffield, Leeds, Aberdeen, Glasgow, back to Cardiff, Liverpool, Newcastle, Nottingham, Manchester, Dublin, Belfast, back to Dublin, back to Birmingham, back to London, back to Glasgow, back to Manchester, back to Sheffield, and then back to Nottingham. And my last show is the 8th of November. So yeah, 8 weeks around the UK. And I'm so happy about it. I'm so happy that like I can actually And because as well, we've got travel days pretty much between like most of the shows. I think we've only really got like 2 or 3 overnighters like out of the whole tour. Pretty much all travel days. I'm so happy that I can just load the truck, drive a couple of hours, and then go to bed. Like, yeah, I'm happy about it. Any tips how to avoid getting a numb butt and legs driving for long periods of time? Just get out and walk, I suppose. Like, you know, I don't know, obviously, who you work for or what they're like as a company. But you don't have to drive 4.5 hours, obviously, and then have 45 minutes. You know, you can drive 2 hours, have 15 minutes, drive another 2.5 hours, and then have 30 minutes, you know, or even longer, you know, if you're not pushed for time. You don't have to drive 4.5 hours. Um, yeah, don't, like I said, I don't know who, it depends on who you drive for and obviously what kind of work you're doing. Feel dizzy trying to keep up with that map. Yeah, man. There's a lot of, I suppose it's down to demand and like um, availability of the venues, but like that's why we're doing some venues and then coming back to them. They've obviously sold them out um, for the available dates, and that's why they're moving on and then coming back to them later on. But some of them, some of the cities, like London, for example, we're doing 2 venues in London. So we've got Wembley and the O2. We're actually like driving overnight from Wembley to the O2. Make it make sense. Uh, Manchester, we're doing both the venues in Manchester. We're doing the AO Arena, which is the older one, um, and the Co-op Live, which is like the newer arena in Manchester. And I think same with Birmingham as well. Got 2 different venues in Birmingham. Sounds like a good talk. Yeah, man. Yeah, it's got a good group of guys in there as well. Still take you a couple of hours. I'm assuming you mean London to London, yeah. Yeah, man. It probably will, because no doubt some flipping road is going to be closed somewhere, innit? That I need to go down. It's actually an overnighter as well, that one. It's weird, like, we've got, yeah. It's an overnight from Wembley, like, to a show in the O2 the next day. How many trucks on the tour? There are 14 Arctics and a rigid, or maybe 13 Arctics and a rigid. I'm actually driving ours just for London. Mate, I might actually go out to the M25 and drive all the way around it just for something to do. Do you know what area, like, what, like, this the stupid thing is with doing that? Because it's an overnight, like, obviously, by overnight, I mean it's a show one night and then moving to the next venue, and then it's a show in the next venue the next night. Like, with that, it's kind of, you're better off doing a longer drive, because you get there, say I leave Manchester and I'm going to Birmingham. Sorry, say I leave Manchester and I'm going to London. It's like 4-5 hour drive. If I leave 1 o'clock in the morning, I'm getting there at like 6 o'clock the next morning, and then I'm pretty much going straight into a load in. Whereas, like, if I leave somewhere at 1 o'clock in the morning and I get there at 2 o'clock in the morning, and then I'm loading in the next morning at 6 o'clock, it's like you've got that awkward 4 hours where you don't quite want to go to sleep, but like also you don't want to stay up for 4 hours. And then if you sleep for like 3-4 hours, you just end up waking up feeling groggy as hell. So like in some ways, it's actually easier to do a longer drive. Not easier, but you know, it's better to do a longer drive. Can't say the first bit of your name because I might get in trouble with the YouTube officials, but Mike Official, how's things, buddy? Good, thank you very much. How are you? Got all night to do a tip and reload in Victoria, then back out to Southend. By Victoria, do you mean London? Victoria. Back at Southend. Got a meet at Southend. What's the time actually? 8:36. Haven't been out to industry since 2019. If wanting to get back into it, I'm undecided to go back on coach side or maybe try KB for a first experience. HGV side, but appreciate your insight. Not a problem, mate. Like I said, the coaches is where the money's at, for sure. Like, no doubt about it. The coaches earn very good money. Especially if you've got a trailer on and, like, I think you get bonuses for, like, driving with a trailer and some other bits and bobs. And they can earn some seriously good money. But yeah. Like I said, I'm antisocial. I'm antisocial. I don't like my load talking to me. Bunch of boxes in the back are never going to answer me back, are they? North Circular, horrible word. Yeah, no, I'm messing. I will be going around the North Circular, no doubt. London, Victoria. I don't actually know, like, off the top of my head where London, Victoria is. I know, like, obviously, I know London quite well. I've been to London, Victoria on a coach, actually. Don't know if I've ever done anything around there in truck. Probably have. Not too bad. A lad in Thailand called me a... So I called myself it to annoy him. Fair enough. Yeah. Worked 2 days last week. Had 5 days holiday and come out with over 1K this week. I have got quite a few holidays built up, I think. But like I said, I'm finishing. I don't know if you was in the chat then, but I'm finishing on the 9th of November. So I'm saving them until I finish work on the 9th, and then I'm going to put all my holidays through for the rest of that month, and then I'll get a decent wage at the end of November, and I'll be in Thailand by then. Used to do NX. Absolute hater. National Express, I assume you mean. Yeah. I've never done buses, so I don't know. What it's like, but like I observe, obviously, as a driver. I observe what other people are doing, and it's like the amount of times where, because this is what we was talking about earlier, like before trucks had speed limiters. Like if your truck was unrestricted now, you would just get caught up in so much more traffic because obviously people drive like absolute knobs. And it's like the amount of times where, because obviously coaches go faster than trucks, the amount of times where coaches get stuck behind cars like in the middle lane and stuff, like it would literally drive me insane. You get caught up with enough traffic as it is when you're doing 56 mile an hour, never mind when you're doing 60, 65, whatever coaches do. Money was top draw. Depends on where we went, country-wise, etc., etc. A company made me main driver, so it meant being away up to 9-10 months of the year. But this was before the new restrictions. Yeah, I I know, obviously, a lot of bus drivers from this industry, and some of them just pretty much never go home. I'm in Thailand in November, going to Ao Nang in Bangkok, I think. And then I'm gonna I'm gonna get a bike. I think my plan is. I think my plan is I'm gonna do a month in Bangkok. I'm gonna get a bike. I'm gonna ride down to Phuket. I'm probably gonna be in Phuket for Christmas, and then I'm going to spend a couple of months probably in Koh Samui, because that's just where I like. Um, it's like my place in Thailand. Although I will likely travel to other places like while I'm there, but like I'm gonna base myself in Koh Samui. I think that's just where I feel at home the most, I suppose. Um, Not far out coach station. I'm on the other side of station at building site. What do you actually do then? Like what are you delivering to a building site at this time of night? What do you do in Thailand for the amount of time you was out there? Um, I've got things to do out there this time, and I can't like I don't want to talk about it now because I'm gonna make a video about why I'm going to Thailand. Um, so yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. Like I've got things to do out there this time, and it's nothing to do with a girl or anything like that. It's not family related, and it's not female related. But I've got something that I need to do out there for a period of maybe up up to 3 to 4 months. So um, yeah, I need to go out there and base myself somewhere. But beats working in an RDC. Mate, most things beat working in an RDC, to be fair. Sitting listening to other drivers talking absolute shite. Not a fan of Bangkok. I'm thinking of Koh Samui late next year, as I'm going Pattaya in March for my birthday. Um, I am a fan of Bangkok. I am big fan of Bangkok. Like, what I like about Bangkok is that you're just never going to run out of things to do. Like, there's so much to do there. Everything is like really accessible. Um, this will be my first time spending that kind of time there. Like, the longest I've ever spent there was like about a week and a bit. So this will be my first time spending like a fair chunk of time in Bangkok. Maybe I will get annoyed with it after a little bit, but I do. As far as like big cities go, is one of the best in the world for me. Like I said, I just think there's so much to do there. There's like the food. Oh god, got my mouth watering thinking about Thai food. Like I said, the accessibility, the the cost of things there compared to obviously back home. Um, but you can't say you're not a fan of Bangkok and then go to Pattaya, mate. Surely, Pattaya's probably best we leave the Pattaya conversation away from YouTube. To be fair, you're a top class. Maybe I am. Maybe I am. If you're not Thailand or Vegas, where would you recommend taking another gap year? Should you decide to take another year out? I mean, I definitely wouldn't advise taking a gap year in Vegas, man, because that will cost you an absolute arm and a leg. Um, it's very like, oh wow, depends like on what you want out of it. You know what I mean? depends what you want out of it. Somewhere I would like to see more of, and I only went there briefly, um, last year, was the Philippines. But it's a very the Philippines is very, very beautiful, very beautiful, and it's kind of on a financial level with Bangkok in terms of like what you with Thailand in terms of what you spend there. Um, but the thing that one of the things that makes Thailand what it is the people. Like it's the people are so so nice. They're so kind. Typically, it's very very safe. Like they just don't steal. Whereas I'm not sure that's the thing in the Philippines or to the degree of what it is in Thailand. Like Thailand, literally, you can go to a shop, like park your bike outside, leave the engine running with the keys in it, obviously, and like you know it's going to be there when you come out. Like people just aren't going to steal things from you. Whereas like I'm not sure that's a thing in the Philippines. Like I said, to a degree of what it is in Thailand. Um, Bangkok is nice, it's too busy and too humid. Reminds me of London. I always meant about the best thing about London is the M1 app. Disagree with that. Nothing like London. Nothing like London for me. Like traffic wise, yeah, I get it. It's busy, but like obviously you've got the BTS. You know, it's easy to get around everywhere. I take motorbike taxis in most places. You know, typically I always rent a motorbike or own one. I actually own a bike on Koh Samui. I own a dirt bike, but I would typically rent a motorbike. But Bangkok's one place I wouldn't drive. I'd be scared to drive in Bangkok because of the traffic. You're right about that. It's very busy. But I feel like it's easy to bypass the traffic in Bangkok because, like I said, you've got BTS and very good links, travel links. Dropping some machinery, taking broken ones away. Nothing big, some sort of pumping unit by the look of it. 7.5 ton tonight. Horrible thing to drive, but taking the pennies for an easy shift. Probably the best thing to drive in London, to be fair. Probably the best thing to drive. The smaller the better in London, I suppose. Just surprised there's building sites open at this time of night. I suppose if it's obviously specialised delivery, collection, whatever, then yeah, makes sense. It's my mate's first time, so may do Koh Larn, rent a car, go to Koh Samet. Two places I've never been. Koh Larn. Koh Larn's the one just outside, just across from Pattaya, isn't it? And then Koh Samet's the one down from Pattaya. Is that right? Between Pattaya and Canterbury. Yeah, never went to either of them. My mate went to Koh Samet last year and he said it's really good. I went in April to a little island. I bet you've never even heard of it. I don't know. I don't know what your history in Thailand is like, but a little island called Koh Payam, not Koh Phangan, Koh Payam, which is in the Andaman, so Phuket side. I flew to Ranong Airport, and then got a taxi down to the pier, and then got a boat to this little island called Koh Payam. There's no cars there. There's no even proper roads there, just motorbikes. And that was so chill, amazing. Not very busy, like I said, not very touristy. But I had like 3-4 nights there, and it was just like bliss, really nice. But yeah, renting a car, I've never even considered driving in Thailand, only because like and I'm telling you this as somebody who drives for a living. Like I see the way that they ride bikes out there, and like obviously I'll drive anywhere. I'll drive my truck through the center of Paris before I would rent a car in Thailand because, like I said, I've seen the way that they drive cars there, and I'd be frightened to death of knocking somebody off the bike. And it's just I just don't need that kind of hassle. I'd rather ride the bike. Could do that in Japan as well. You might get told off for wasting fuel. Driving under with a big vehicle is easy. Straddle both lanes and floor it. I know you say that, but people in London, I'm telling you now, it's easier to drive in Paris than it is in London, in an Arctic. Because, like, in Paris, if you, like, show your authority, they back down most of the time. Whereas, like, in London, they just don't think that you can bully them. These two guys walking up here again, man. Keeping an eye out there. It's a flipping scooter. Cologne is about a 1 hour 30-minute from Patio. I didn't realise it was that far. It looks like it sounds like a flipping transport plan, and it only looks that far on the map. It looks quite nice, but you know what it is, yeah? Like, I've obviously, with knowing what Patio is like, I feel like Cologne, it's obviously, you know, it's an island at the end of the day. It's not going to be like Patio, but I feel like there'd be Patio residents or people who reside in Patio on Cologne. For that reason, I've never been particularly interested in going there. Maybe I'm just being close-minded about that. What time's loadout tonight? Loadout is, well, show finishes at 10:30. Loadout will probably commence around about 11 once the punters have dispersed. Open to change these units over normally, or Arctic's in or around London most of the time, but when you're running over water, never say no, but sadly not come too often. Yeah, that's what I thought. Like I said, the building started being open at this time. Bit weird. Don't have a CBT, so I've probably been it. No. Although, obviously, a CBT allows you to ride up to 125, is it? I think. And most bikes in Thailand are over 125. Like your average motorbike in Thailand is probably, or your average scooter in Thailand is probably 150, 160cc. Which is weird, isn't it? But like, you think of like a 125 now, which here is like a, not a high-end scooter, but like I said, here, the most common scooter I would say is probably a 50cc, which is obviously what kids ride on the CBT. Whereas like over there, a 50cc is pretty much unheard of, like, and even a 125 is pretty underpowered scooter in Southeast Asia. Guy in a Porsche tried to bully, he didn't back down. Tried to squeeze past, scraped his car down the side of my coach and drove off. That's what I mean, they just don't back down to you now. They don't back down like people. Whereas, like I said, in Paris, for example, as an example, Paris, they do. Like, if you, like I said, if you assert your authority, they will back down to you. Whereas, like, in London, they're just like, no, my car's bigger than your truck. That's the mentality that they come with. We're about to see now. I'm in Birmingham right now. With your hours after this tour, with your holidays after this tour, sorry, does that mean you're on a 0 hours contract at KB or full time? I am on a 0 hours contract, yeah. Fortunately, I am busy enough so that it doesn't even really occur to me the fact that I'm on a 0 hours, because like I earn more, I would say, than I would do if I was on if I was working Monday to Friday. Like, Monday to Friday is what, how many days do you do? I think it's like 250 a year or something. If you work in a typical Monday to Friday, I think you work typically 250 days a year. Obviously, if you take out your bank holidays and your weekends and whatnot. But I probably average more than 250 days a year, so I think it's, yeah. It works out better for me. Plus the fact that I can have time off whenever I want. I probably don't work 150 days a year actually, because obviously, like I said, I have a lot of holidays. Um, but yeah, it's kind of like works in my favor for that reason. Everybody's on 0 hours. Everybody who works here is on 0 hours, except for people who work in the office, like drivers. Are on 0 hours. Yeah. But there's a lot of people who are in like a similar situation to me. Like there's lads who live in Spain. There's a guy who lives in Portugal. There's lads who live in Scotland. So everybody's the same. Like there's a guy who lives in France. I think maybe a couple of people who live in France. So pretty much everybody's the same as me. Like unless you're one of them who just works all year round, which some people do and don't go on holiday. Most people are like me. They'll do a few tours, couple of months or whatever, 2, 3 months, 4 months, and then go home and have 3, 4 weeks off. And that's the good thing about it, and that's one thing. It's probably one of the reasons why I've been here so long as well, because like they're very accommodating and work around you more rather than you working around them. Like I said, there's never going to be a situation where you ask for time off and they tell you can't have it. I'm gonna aim for May next year to get LGV HGV. Car test is in January. Hoping I can pass first try. Well, good luck. Is that how long you've got to wait for a test, or like, have you just not started yet, or whatever? So December. That's like 4 months away. That's quite a long time, isn't it? I suppose it's different back then. I think I must have started my lessons and passed my test within 4 months, like car test, obviously. But yeah, definitely. Get some experience of driving first before you jump straight in a truck from a car, for sure. Like, get some road experience, I suppose. I was going to ask why the lad's local, but they don't mind where you live. No, like I said, there's a guy who lives in Portugal. A Portuguese guy, actually. Paulo. Absolute legend. Proper nice guy. In fact, there's a couple of guys who live in Portugal, but one of them only comes and does like a month here and a month there, whereas one of them like pretty much works here full time, and then he goes home to Portugal like every few months. But yeah, there's lads in Portugal. There's at least 2 who live in Spain. One in France, one in Scotland. Off the top of my head, and a lot of them live down south as well. A lot of them live like far further away. But it's not so bad for them because obviously, when you're working away, most of the time, driving 2, 3, 4 hours to work is not the end of the world if you're going to be away for a few weeks, is it? It's not like you've got to drive that every day. Just drive it once every few weeks. But it's about a month ago, the backlog meant January was all that was available. Yeah, that's crazy. I actually know somebody in London who wanted to do a driving test, and she was told around about the same as well, months. Driving in the UK is a nightmare. Standard driving now is horrendous. Positive. Most don't have a license now. Mate, yeah, we've been talking about this earlier. Cars and HGVs as well. Like, standard driving's horrendous. It's gone right downhill. Love driving in Spain. Me too, actually. Me too. I like driving in Spain. And Spain is very good for rest stops. There's plenty of good places to stop in Spain. Like, I feel I feel like every junction, off every junction, there's like a nice restaurant and a hotel and parking area and stuff. Not quite off every junction, but it feels like that sometimes. Like, yeah, there's Spain's a great place to drive. Jeez, can't believe it's been on for an hour and a half already. Crazy. 9 o'clock. Right, I'm going to knock it on the head, I reckon, because I'm going to go and put my scooter away and relax for a couple of hours before Got a massive drive tonight from Birmingham to London, so I kind of need to psych myself up for it. Psych. Yeah. Thank you everybody for joining me. Thanks for all the comments. We're going to do this again soon. I've really enjoyed actually doing it live and having people to talk to. I sound like a right loner then when I say, oh, I've got people to talk to. I've always got people to talk to, but you know what I mean? Like, actually chatting to people online has been good. So we're going to do another live soon. I might even do one this weekend. But yeah, hopefully. Don't shoot me if it's not out right, but I should have a video out 6 o'clock on Saturday evening. Yeah. And I'll probably do a live, like maybe... What day are my shows? Can't remember what day my shows are. What's the day today? Wednesday. Day of tomorrow's shows, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Is that right? No, shows Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I might even do a live Saturday night. How's that? Yeah. Really enjoyed it, man. Anyway, it's been good to talk to you all. And answering everybody's questions, yeah, because there's been loads to talk about. Before I go, what's that? Only bad thing about Spain is never let your car go less than quarter tank of fuel. When I worked out there, put you out in the sticks. Yeah, first time I ever drove Spain, second time actually, because the first time I went in the truck. But the second time I ever went to Spain, I went down to Seville in a van. And that thing took 6 tanks of fuel each way. From the UK to Seville, took 6 tanks of fuel each way, right? And it was literally, like you said, because you're out in the sticks, or it feels like you're out in the sticks sometimes. I literally, I filled the tank. As soon as I got back on the motorway, I'm looking for somewhere else to put fuel in again, because I'm like, I don't know how far the next one's going to be. That was crazy. But yeah, but it's a great place to drive down. I like the scenery out in Spain. But yeah. Have a good night, mate. Yes, thank you, Nick Higgins. Have a good night too. Safe drive, Jaffro. Good to see you back. Thank you. Thanks for dropping in, mate. Nice to see you live. Thanks for dropping in, Jim. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Like I said, I'm going to do another one Saturday evening. So, any questions, get them in, and we'll get chatting again Saturday. But yeah, thank you for watching, guys. See you in a bit.